Well, it's certainly a big win, I think, Miriam, for both Prince Harry and Tom Watson. For Prince Harry in particular, it's always been about accountability rather than a financial settlement. So, of course, that is also very much on the cards here. We are in the next couple of minutes expecting some statements outside the High Court here from Prince Harry's barrister, David Sherbourne, KC. When that does happen, we will bring that straight to you. But, of course, this is particularly significant because it is the first time that the Sun newspaper has admitted any kind of liability with an unlawful information gathering claim. Remember, they have settled out of court in more than 1,000 similar cases, but in all of those similar cases, they admitted no liability. So here is the full statement from News Group Newspapers, who owns both The Sun and the now defunct News of the World newspapers. They say NGN offers a full and unequivocal apology to the Duke of Sussex for the serious intrusion by The Sun between 1996 and 2011 into his private life, including instances of unlawful activities carried out by private investigators working for The Sun. News Group Newspapers also offers a full and unequivocal apology to the Duke of Sussex for the phone hacking, surveillance and misuse of private information by journalists and private investigators instructed by them at the News of the World. News Group Newspapers fully apologises to the Duke for the impact on him of the extensive coverage and serious intrusion into his private life, as well as, and this is significant, the private life of Diana, Princess of Wales, his late mother, in particular during his younger years. And it goes on. And of course, both of the claimants, the Duke of Sussex and former Deputy Leader of the Labour Party, Lord Watson, are expected to receive financial damages. Now, this is all very almost unexpected because yesterday we all arrived here at the High Court in London for the start of a 10-week trial into allegations by Prince Harry and Lord Watson into unlawful information gathering by News Group Newspapers at The Sun and indeed the News of the World. And of course, we got three delays, essentially. Both barristers asked the judge to adjourn very soon after proceedings started at 10 o'clock yesterday morning so they could continue negotiations. They then asked for a second adjournment, which the judge granted. They then asked for a third one, and the judge refused. And then both barristers took that decision by the judge to the Court of Appeal to try and overrule him, buying them time to thrash out the final bits of the negotiations. Now, the time difference, because of course Prince Harry is 8 hours behind London, was a factor, but not the main reason for the delay. And then, of course, this morning at 10:30, we found out that they have indeed reached a settlement with News Group Newspapers, a full apology for Prince Harry. As I said, he was never in it really for the money. He's always maintained that it was always about accountability with News Group Newspapers, and he's certainly got that here this morning.
Cameron, just finally, Prince Harry had always made clear that he was going to see this, have his day in court, come what may. He wasn't interested in a settlement. What do you think changed?
Well, of course, he would have been liable for the legal costs of both himself and News Group Newspapers if News Group Newspapers offered him a settlement and he refused it and he was persevering with a full trial. Then at the end of that trial, even if he won it and the judge offered him less than the initial amount offered by News Group Newspapers in an out-of-court settlement, that means he would have been liable for the court costs of both himself and News Group, which would have run into the millions of pounds. And even for Prince Harry, that would have been a huge chunk of money. It's one of the reasons why Hugh Grant, the actor, for example, he was also part initially of this lawsuit. There were 39 claimants, we think, pulled out before and settled out of court before the start of a trial, because he said on camera in an ITV documentary last year, he was advised that he would have been liable for around £10 million of court costs if he pursued it to a full trial, however much he wanted to. And clearly, I don't think Prince Harry would have settled if he didn't get an apology, a public apology from News Group Newspapers. And that's exactly what he's got here today. As for News Group, of course, it means they're avoiding a full-blown trial where a lot of alleged dirty laundry could perhaps be aired in public. A lot of royal family secrets from the royal family's perspective could have also been aired in public. And Prince Harry, of course, now avoids being cross-examined in a dock for 4 days. So it could well be a win-win for both sides, apart from, of course, the huge payout that News Group is now going to have to give to Harry and Lord Watson.
Now, Cameron, Prince Harry has not been a particularly popular figure in recent years, but nevertheless, this apology does really lay bare just the kind of pressure he and his family were put under, particularly in the early years of his life. I mean, you know, what it must feel like to know that you could be being hacked, that your private conversations might be listened to, all these things. You can understand why perhaps he's become quite paranoid, quite bitter about the press. It does really shine a light on his childhood experience, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly does, and he has spoken on camera before about his paranoia and indeed the paranoia of his mother, Diana, Princess of Wales. And he also said that the breakdown in relations with his own family, as in Prince William and the King and the rest of them, a central part of it, and that was a quote, was all of this litigation and his fight, bitter fight, I would say, with the British tabloids. He's already won his case against Mirror Group newspapers. He was in this very building a couple of years ago giving his evidence for 2 days in court. I was there, and he won that case against the Mirror. He won substantial damages against them. Now he's settled his case with News Group, but of course there is also another litigation that's still in process with another newspaper group, and that's Associated Newspapers, which is the owner of the Daily Mail. Now they have always denied all the allegations made against them, but that is still another case, legal case, that Prince Harry is pursuing at the moment. But it has been a bitter fight for Harry. It has lost him perhaps a lot of friends, a lot of family members in the process, and he has become particularly unpopular with the British public. But again, he said on camera that that was a sacrifice he was willing to make, and he says that he is doing this, he's pursuing it so much because he wants to bring justice, as he sees it, to the other alleged victims of unlawful information gathering. David Sherbourne, Casey, Prince Harry and Tom Watson's lawyer is just coming out to make a statement.
Are we going to take a statement? Are we going to go back? No, here's the statement now from David Sherbourne. So he's just... Prince Harry's lawyer. He's been representing for a very long time.
I've been asked to read out a statement on behalf of the Duke of Sussex and Lord Watson. In a monumental victory today, News UK have admitted that The Sun, the flagship title for Rupert Murdoch's UK media empire, has indeed engaged in illegal practices. This represents a vindication for the hundreds of other claimants who were strong-armed into settling without being able to get to the truth of what was done to them. After endless resistance, denials and legal battles by News Group newspapers, including spending more than £1 billion in payouts and in legal costs, as well as paying off those in the know in order to prevent the full picture from coming out, News UK is finally held to account for its illegal actions and its blatant disregard for the law. It has also specifically admitted wrongdoing against Tom Watson and admitted unlawful acts by The Sun, as well as by the News of the World against Prince Harry. The truth that has now been exposed is that News Group newspapers unlawfully engaged more than 100 private investigators over at least 16 years on more than 35,000 occasions. This happened as much at The Sun as it did at the News of the World, with the knowledge of all the editors and executives going to the very top of the company. What's even worse is that in the wake of the 2006 arrest of a royal correspondent, there was an extensive conspiracy to cover up what had really been going on and who knew about it. Senior executives deliberately obstructed justice by deleting over 30 million emails, destroying backup tapes, and making false denials, all in the face of an ongoing police investigation. They then repeatedly lied under oath to cover their tracks, both in court and at the Leveson public inquiry. At her trial in 2014, Rebecca Brooks said, "When I was editor of The Sun, we ran a clean ship. Now, 10 years later, when she is CEO of the company, they now admit when she was editor of The Sun, they ran a criminal enterprise. Far from being relics of a distant past, many of those behind these unlawful practices remain firmly entrenched in senior positions today, both within News UK and other media outlets across the world, wielding editorial power and perpetuating the toxic culture in which they continue to thrive. It's perhaps no surprise that all of their senior executives and editors refused to turn up to court to give evidence. The failure of each of these key individuals to come and answer questions under oath spoke volumes in itself, but their collective silence is deafening. Today's result has been achieved only through the sheer resilience of Prince Harry and Tom Watson, whose willingness to take News Group newspapers to trial has led directly to this historic admission of unlawfulness at The Sun. It has only been by taking News Group not just to the steps of court, but inside the courtroom itself, that these claimants have finally managed to extract this historic admission of guilt. As a direct result of him taking a stand, Prince Harry and his immediate family have also had to repeatedly withstand aggressive and vengeful coverage since starting his claim over 5 years ago. This has created serious concerns for the security of him and his family. The rule of law must now run its full course. Prince Harry and Tom Watson join others in calling for the police and Parliament to investigate not only the unlawful activity now finally admitted, but the perjury and cover-ups along the way. It is clear now that this has occurred throughout this process, including through sworn evidence in inquiries and court hearings, in testimony to Parliament, and until today's final collapse of News Group's defence. Today, the lies are laid bare. Today, the cover-ups are exposed, and today proves that no one stands above the law. The time for accountability has arrived. Thank you very much.
Mr. Sherbourne, Prince Harry said he wanted accountability. There's been no admission of liability by senior managers. Is this what he wanted?
Well, that was David Sherbourne, who was the lawyer for Prince Harry. Lord Watson is now making a statement too. He's the former deputy of the Labour Party.
I wish they had left my family alone. But what happened, happened. Today, I'm glad they have finally accepted responsibility. I'm glad they've apologised and acknowledged the direct harm caused by years of unlawful surveillance by their journalists and their army of private investigators, not just to my family, but to Prince Harry and his. As the formidable Mr. Sherbourne and my diligent solicitor, Ellen Gallagher, and our impressive team of lawyers at Hamlins have showed, in over 1,300 civil cases, these unlawful practices were not isolated incidents. They were industrial in scale and central to the modus operandi of News Group newspapers as a whole. I once said that the big beasts of the tabloid jungle have no predators. I was wrong. They have Prince Harry. His bravery and astonishing courage have brought accountability to a part of the media world that thought it was untouchable. I am sure I speak on behalf of the thousands of victims when I say we are grateful to him for his unwavering support and his determination under extraordinary pressure. If Rupert Murdoch had any decency, he should follow this corporate admission of guilt with a personal apology to Prince Harry, to his father our King, and to the countless others who suffered the same unlawful behaviour at the hands of his media empire. News Group newspapers owes so many such apologies. Thousands of ordinary people just trying to live their lives have endured the same unlawful behaviour. Many were victims of heinous crimes, including victims of terrorism, grieving families, and people caught in personal tragedies. I'll never get over some of the stories I've heard in this case. I owe some apologies too. This saga has placed an unforgivable strain on the people in my life. From my former wife Sherbourne, mother to my beautiful children, to my wider family and friends, I am sorry that Rebecca Brooks decided you were just collateral damage in their corporate war on the elected representatives who sought their accountability. This fight has made me reflect on what it means to settle. Legally, it's a technical term. Emotionally, it's much deeper. I wish I could bring justice for everyone News Group newspapers has ruined and bullied, but I can't. Our system remains stacked against victims in favour of the powerful. So what does this case mean? Why is it so important? As the United Kingdom continues to witness tragic crimes and terrible atrocities, at least we know now that because of the work of my solicitor Ellen Gallagher and lawyers like her, victims and their loved ones are unlikely to have their phones hacked or their medical records stolen by tabloid newspapers, as routinely used to happen. At the heart of this case, and all the 1,300 others, is the important principle that no one is above the law. And in this sense, today's result represents a challenge to the criminal justice system. I finish with two questions. To Sir Mark Rowley, when you receive our dossier exposing wrongdoing, will the Metropolitan Police act? To the Prime Minister, I know you care deeply about fairness and the law, but are we really willing to continue as a country where some corporate executives are above the law and out of the reach of the police? Thank you.